Bang. Hello.
Are we live?
We're not live. You're live on the internet. Please don't say rock or stone.
Rock and stone.
Anyway, this is season 3 of the Barrel Vision podcast. Well, I don't know. I'm not. That's not. It's all trivial anyway. But the point is, we've made another major change to the format.
We have moved to Discord.
Yeah.
The thing that most people
did we not use
normally.
Discord last? No, we didn't use it last podcast.
We haven't recorded it for a podcast yet, but we did use it for the interview.
That's right. That's right.
And it was kind of spurred by the fact that I think my audio was worse through the Xbox using my better mic, which I'd appreciate to use my better mic. So this should be both of our best audio quality.
You would hope so, wouldn't you? You bloody hope so.
I very much do.
You know, I've got the best audio quality though, because I've got that Dio quality. God, imagine if I had his voice.
Since we're using Discord, we're using our Discords, which we think. I suggested we should probably actually make into dwarves.
I think we will
make it a bit more cohesive. But for now, you can get a glimpse into our likes, other than Deep Rock.
The only other things that we like.
A couple people will pick up on. I think people can pick up on what ours are, but I know that we have subscribers and or commenters that are into One Piece.
Dio, yes. No. But any Dio fans, please let me know.
I mentioned heavy metal and Deep Rock. There is a correlation there. I imagine that there are fans of Deep Rock that heavy metal also. There's probably a link there. I would imagine so. There's a chance, Harry. We'll see.
There's a chance. Comment below if you who you think. We'll put out a poll. Who do you think's better, Ozzy Osbourne or Dio? If you vote Ozzy, I'll just come around your house and kill you.
Yeah, or at least just block you from the
from further existence.
Yeah, just block you from.
I guess we should probably keep it simple though. I'm Harry. I'm on the left. That's Tyler. He's on the right.
That is true. And you could also actually now see when we're talking, which is
that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point. Yeah. you don't really need to point that out. It's also you can see when we're talking. It's like, yes, Tyler, that was the whole point of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's these are things that normal people have from the beginning, but it took us 18 episodes.
Well, this is episode 19.
19. What? So
there you go.
Yeah, technically, it took 18 to get there.
Anyway, obviously, you could. Well, you know what you clicked on, but obviously you can see the title at the bottom of the screen because we have production value, and it is. It says season 3 final predictions. I guess it should probably be official predictions. I don't know, and
there's nothing official about it other than I guess if you take our word as facts. But
yeah, well, I think. Well, that's what it's going to be, because obviously we're going to make points here that we've probably made before, a couple times, but hopefully some new ones. But really, the point of this is we won't have to make these points again. And we can actually just set it in stone here, because as far as we know, pretty soon we're going to start to know things about season 3, potentially today.
Which we are actually recording it a bit earlier today, thank you, Harry. And so that means we probably will get the teaser after we record. There's a chance that that's going to occur or near the end, right? Well,
yeah, obviously, because when we record, we record around the time that Ghost Ship streams on Thursdays. And, well, it's pretty interesting. Right now, they're actually playing with the mission randomizer mod. Yeah, add that to console, please. Just take it. Just take it, and put it in the game as an update.
I think they're allowed to do that.
Yeah, but they're also the kind of guys who would ask. But I don't think anyone would be like, "Oh no, you can't take my mod and let more people play with it."
Yeah, especially if they actually brought them on. This help. But what point is?
It's the biggest mod as well. I think it's the most. Went into it out of any mod so far. It's the biggest mod. It's probably not necessarily the most popular, But it's like Beyond Skyrim
so
or something.
Far, most of the mods so far have just been kind of like adding stuff to things already there. Like they're like googly eyes to things. That's a pretty popular one. Or stuff like that. Not many mods actually add content to the game, really. And even then, this doesn't technically do that.
It does, like, actually. It adds a few things. I don't think it...
secondary missions. But, like, has there actually been a mod? Because not that we really know, but has there actually been a mod that has added a new enemy type? Like, a completely new enemy?
Oh, not completely new.
Game mode? Or,
well, the mission randomizer added a secondary objective where you have to kill scouts, and they're sort of just these, like, flying, dancing little men. But there was this really cool one that added like a lot of new enemies, but they were still glyphids. There was like it was before season 2, so there was like the glyphid nemesis. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it's pretty cool.
Okay, so they are, but yeah, I don't know. The randomizer does seem to be like one of the biggest of everything that's in the game, just ramped up and just fucks around with, which
feels somewhat real. Are we getting off topic? Are we?
We never even touched the beginning of the topic.
We're not off topic, technically, I'd say.
I suppose. But, so basically, as we're making these predictions, we could get proved wrong.
I want to.
That is a legitimate chance. And also, it means if we do get a teaser, we'll probably make a video after the podcast.
Yeah, mate.
They also might do one tomorrow or next week. Point is, we are getting our final... I guess how you put it as bingo, like predictions in, because we made.
Yeah, we need to predict something for each part of the update. But before we get to predictions, I want to start with premonitions. Because I had a dream last night.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah, it was a dream about season 3, and it was out, right? And this is one of those dreams where my brain did a very good job at convincing me that it was real. Even more so than normal, because I think it came in like multiple episodes throughout the night. It's like the first one, I was like, I think this is actually a dream, and then I think I just phased back into like normal sleeping, and then I started dreaming again, and it was still like the same kind of thing, but in a different context. Like the first time, I was like somewhere else, I wasn't at home, but I saw like news about it on my phone, and then the next time, I was like playing it, and it's like, oh, this is actually real. Damn, it wasn't a dream. It happened in the dream, and it was ridiculous. There was so much stupid shit in it as well. There was like weird like voice actors, and there were like giant drills and strange things going on. It was really odd. There was like new weapons, which is just retarded, R-worded. Sorry.
Yeah, I've had a couple of deep dreams, and they are just. Well, they're always like really dumb because it's a dream. Like I had one where they collabed with Minecraft, and you were actually able to like craft weapons and shit like that. And I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing! I'm so excited to play this game. And then I woke up, and it's so devastating.
Would you actually want that? God. Because I think I've only ever had one where it's like I actually want this,
really. And
it was the one that I really wanted. It was because I only brought the dream up because I had it last night, and it was about season 3, but. I suppose I just mentioned it. I don't know if I've mentioned this on recording. There was one dream where it was like that is basically the perfect mission, where it was like the Glyphid Queen hunt, and you drop in, and it's like a massive like fortress, like in the style of the Minehead, and I just remember those two main things. But this is it.
Yeah, and then you wake up and you're just filled with an overwhelming amount of sadness and disappointment that you can't then actually play that. Yeah, speaking of overwhelming disappointment, let's get into this season 3. That's not the only thing that actually turns out to be true, that it's a disappointment.
Are you putting that down as a prediction?
Thing is, right, I think it probably will be, because our hopes are quite high, like quality-wise. We think it should be like very good, because it's going to be their second take of the seasonal model of these updates. Because season 2 was season 1 part 2, But this is actually going to be them trying to fix the issues that people had with the previous seasons. This should be the better version.
Well, my hopes are high, but my expectations are a bit more generalised. Where it's like, what I actually expect is it's going to be roughly the same quality as the stuff that they normally do, but with the novelty of it being something new. Because by the time it comes out, it will have been almost a year, or maybe even a year. And we just had the robots as new content, so that's going to be a positive inherently. That is something new.
Yeah.
And as long as it's the same quality as season 1 or in between season 1 and 2 somewhere, that's really what it should be, reasonably so.
Well, yeah, I think I don't know. I'd say the quality of season 2, the quantity of season 1 is where I would kind of.
That's the ideal, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be. But
it's the reasonable ideal because we know that can be possible because those 2 updates exist.
Yeah, and it's just that normally I'd be fine with just quality because as long as it's good, it doesn't really matter how much of it you get. But with how long it's taken to get this season, there needs to be some level of quantity, which is why. I don't know.
There's no point pretending that quality is literally everything. Quantity always comes into it. Well, we will start after I go through what we know. God. What we know, right?
I suppose, yeah.
So that's like the roadmap for season 3. It's quite brisk.
Everyone has seen.
Yeah, and this is what we're basing it off of, the predictions. I guess I should just read it.
Which we did do for like the next 2 podcasts after, but this is going to basically be the sum up of those and some general other talks we've had off air, or just in between other videos.
Quarter 4 2022 season 3. Apparently one of the points of it is new season. I don't know why they said that as like a subheading. But anyway, like I said, let's just read it. Attention miners, long range scanners, it says sensors, detected a large body approaching Creius on a parabolic trajectory. Something is coming, and it's not robots. Creius being the star that Hoxie's orbits.
Did it actually say it's not robots?
Yeah.
Like, in there?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough then.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So obviously that takes robots off the table.
Actually, or anything to do with robots. I think it's worth noting.
I'm going to expand on that like very quickly after I've read the rest of this. New performance pass. Early employee surveys have shown company productivity and morale increase as a result of the performance pass. Management is approving a new set of rewards and season challenges in time for season 3.
That's accurate.
Yeah, yes. New grenades. You got new prime weapons. You got new secondary weapons. Now R&D has been cooking up a portfolio of new grenades. Get ready to cause harm and structural damage in even more inventive ways. And then, of course, other undecided stuff. There will be more.
Yeah.
We're exploring new ideas as we speak, and we'll keep you posted. So, actually, to be fair, we're basing what we're going to be predicting on more than what's said here. Because, for example, I put DLC down as something that we could predict what the DLC is going to be like, as well as...
You did say DLC.
They said that DLC will be coming.
Yeah.
We're going to predict what it could be.
Yeah.
And a wild cards, I guess that's just other undecided stuff where we need to predict one like random feature.
Yeah.
So apart from that, it's all mentioned here. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
we need to kind of be quite concise because there is going to be a lot to talk about here.
Yeah. So the one thing I wanted to say about this now was the phrase, the sentence, and it's not robots. I think this is very specifically just. I don't think it's going to be robots, but I think this is more specifically not rivals. That's what they mean, really. But I don't see why it would be robots anyway. But I don't think that.
Yeah.
That's not what they're saying necessarily. They're saying not these guys. That's what they're saying.
They mean that obviously, but there is also the fact that they could have just said it's not our rivals. They did just say robots, which carries the same weight in the community, but if they're probably already got it planned out what they're adding, they wouldn't have said robots if they knew they were adding robots, right? Like if they were adding a different type of robot, they wouldn't have said that. They would have said rivals. But because they know damn well that it's not going to be any form of robots, we could just admit that that whatever this is going to be, it's not robot, it's not AI, it's not tech, nothing like that. Which means it's not a spaceship, I think, first of all, because I know spaceship doesn't inherently mean robots, but kind of does. It would.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
Spaceship doesn't mean robots. It means
our rig is a spaceship, and it's full of robots. It's got like Lloyd, and that's basically it. Tipsy, I guess, but like there will be robots, and I know that's nitpicking, but like they stated no robots, no more. So whatever's coming is either alive or inanimate. It's either just an object or a creature. Either or, it's no robots. Obviously, there maybe because you're fond of this idea, like an orc ship, maybe, but I don't know. I think it's the lesser of the options. But I think it's interesting that said that, because I don't remember them saying that there. I remember them stating it elsewhere, that no more robots, please and thank you.
Yeah.
But I don't remember it being in that one.
Yeah, but it is. So that's what. So we know that.
Yeah.
Right. I suppose let's not dilly-dally any longer.
Walk our way down, I think. Let's start with what's coming towards. Creus.
That's not
Creus,
okay. I guess we're starting with that then.
Well, work our way down, right?
Yeah, through the roadmap. That makes more sense, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, that's sort of starting with the big one, because what that actually is, that subheading is new season. So this is, I've written it down actually as main content. So that is both what the object is, what the new main gameplay feature is, what seasonal events there could be, even if we want to try and predict those. Actually, no, there's no way we could predict exactly what a new seasonal event would be. There's no way. Let's not even bother with that.
I think it is worth noting that, like, it's not. It can't just be a meteor that hits Hoxie's, right? Or like, I mean, it could be, but like, bear in mind the like fat ass paragraph that we get like every time an event occurs, explaining kind of what it is and what we need to do about it. What really is the story of just a meteorite that's like near or something like that? There isn't really a thing that would inherently do, unless it collides with Hoxie's and then Hoxie's react in some way. I mean, that could be a thing, but I don't know. You can't. It's pretty difficult to tell what story they're gonna make out of a asteroid. Like, because it's obviously not going to end Hoxie's, is it? Like, it's not going to be the end of the world. Like, unless it is. They might. Yeah. Well, you never know. It might be that it's coming towards it, and the season is to like launch rockets or like try and like send it away or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I think the main thing I'd want to try and figure out isn't the right word. The main thing I would want to try and predict is if the object is carrying life forms, and I think chances are it is, because you would think that's how we'd get new enemies, right?
Yeah, I think that because that is something. The things that we don't actually know, but if you watch the video on like thing, normally a seasonal event carries in it a game mode or edition, like warnings, game mode. We're assuming biomes, that kind of stuff, gameplay features. Enemies, which is what Harry's saying now, that it would somehow add more enemies, and events, and there's something else. I think it's just the season pass, but that's not really related. But yeah, so and Barren Asteroid doesn't have much of a story to it, and wouldn't really add much, like creatures or events to it inherently. Like, there's not much of anything to work off with that theory. What would a barren asteroid wouldn't add any enemies, technically.
No, it's not just an asteroid, unless it's an asteroid that is composed of a certain element and chunks of it end up all over Hoxie's, and then enemies, or like the wildlife is like attracted to it, and then they get mutated by whatever's in the asteroid.
Maybe, yeah.
Even if it's not, even if the object isn't carrying life forms, it could still be made of something that causes changes to enemy, and that's how you get like new enemy variants. Which my impression is that you want that kind of more than new enemies altogether.
I would, but I'm
you
not
also,
sure if that's the way I'd like it.
Yeah, you specifically want, and I agree, it's like the biome variants, really, isn't it?
Yeah, or at least just natural Hoxie's evolutionary variants.
Yeah,
because
and that's why I had that really stupid idea of like the object sending Hoxies like forward in time, where everything's adapted really well.
That'd be really cool.
Which would be cool, but it's pretty out there.
Like, say, like, this meteorite, it crashes, and there's, like, meteorite glyphids, and they have, like, more armor, but they're, like, slower, which I guess is kind of a grunt, but then they have, like, fire attacks or stuff like that. Like, cool, that is a variant. I do like that.
Like
but then
a grunt that has, like, specks of unbreakable armor, but, like, they're not, it's not, like, big, it's not like a shell. It's got, like, little patches that you can't hit it on, but you could still, like, hit.
Yeah.
Like, you can still hit its ass, but there's patches on its ass that you can't hit as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool, and I would like it. But then it would kind of feel like, because of how it currently is with the robots, like, what are we going to do with them, right? Like, they're going to be left in the game, but they're not going to be as prevalent as they was before, right? Which is kind of my worry. Like, I want variants to be added into the game and to stay there. I don't want them to get delegated or removed if they're not that important, like meteorite glyphid. Like, if it's, you know, it's just kind of an enemy that it really is low effort, so they could just get rid of it. Like, I don't want that to be the kind of thing they add. I would like them to be like stuff that stays permanently, or at least will seem like it will stay permanently. Because that's the thing with the robots. Like, sure, you know, they're cool and all, and the game modes, but you don't actually know if they're going to stick around, which gives them a weird feeling. You know what I mean? Like the events, like just experiencing them and not knowing whether or not you will be able to in like the next season gives it a weird kind of feeling. And I'd like that to kind of be alleviated one way or another, where the additions they add season feels more permanent.
Yes.
And I think if the seasonal thing is something that will be removed, then the enemies feel like they could be removed.
Well,
but
if it's something that hits Hoxies, I think the chances of it going away are quite low, which is why we need to scratch off the list the idea that it's not going to hit Hoxies. And I think the wording is very careful in the roadmap, where it says it's on a parabolic trajectory with Kratos, which means it could still hit, I think we've established this, it could still hit Hoxies. If it was on a parabolic trajectory with Hoxies, then it probably wouldn't hit Hoxies, because it would just go around it. But it's basically being slingshotted around the sun, probably into Hoxies, is what I think is the idea.
Yeah, which is kind of the point, that because maybe they would be able to predict if it was going to hit the Hoxies like dead on, but it probably won't do that. But they probably can't predict where it's going to be slingshotted out of, which it might.
Well, I almost like the idea if it ends up going towards a space rig and then they nuke it, right, and it sort of gets knocked apart and towards Hoxies, and that spreads like fragments of it around. Because I don't think I'm sold on it necessarily being a new biome, but I'm pretty sold on the idea of it having an effect on all biomes in some way.
I think. I don't know. I kind of like the idea that's just popped into my head of like a impact zone biome, where it's like it's basically the magma core, except it's just probably even more deadly or some shit. Like, it's just like a fiery wasteland, which is the magma core. So I'm not sure how they do it, but like, I mean, if your idea occurs, then maybe it could be fire and radiation because of the nukes and the general meteorites fire. So it could literally be the most deadly fucking place in the world that's like made.
But it could also not be that big of a threat, and this would allow it to be the form it would take in game to be as an anomaly, where it's more like a mini biome that you can find in a mission. And
I think anomalies would be pretty cool. Maybe if it doesn't crash onto Hoxies, there is an argument that maybe it could fuck around. Or I was about to say it would fuck around with gravity, but they already do that. They have low gravity. Like, I was gonna be like that. Some areas you just kind of like fly and levitate. Like there'll be like just flying areas in like anywhere with that anomaly. Because I don't know, like the gravity is being messed up by the asteroids like pull.
Or you can even get flipped around and go on the ceiling.
I don't know why people keep wanting that idea. But sure.
Well, I don't know why people keep wanting water. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
What if the asteroid's just a big water balloon? That's what people seem to want.
Yeah.
But we'll obviously, what we need to do is sort of narrow it down to what we can reasonably, not assume, but just reasonably predict, such as object is carrying life forms. I think basically we should write it down if we think it's above 50% chance.
I'm sorry, but the only viable thing that could be on that asteroid, like alive, is a parasite.
Better idea.
Like
object will cause new enemies, whether it's carrying them or it creates new variants of existing enemies. That's very broad.
We already know.
Yeah, I know. But,
new enemies.
Yeah, but this is how we get clairvoyant points.
Just put it in the middle of the bingo card.
I don't actually have a bingo card.
There's gonna be new enemies. Yeah.
All right, new enemies.
Yeah, but I think if you want the meteorite to carry something, it's gonna be your zombie idea, to be honest with you. Or like the Thing, even more. Like
the Thing,
because first of all, we know they like the Thing, but like generally, asteroids containing life forms, that's only ever like a parasitic creature of nightmares. It's never been anything other than that. Other than
to be fair,
Superman,
the Thing,
right?
It comes in a spaceship.
Right.
So it could still be a ship.
I think a parasitic, although parasites already a thing on Hoxies, but they're more like worms, right? They're just like, like infested animals, right? They're talking more brain parasites. That kind of thing is quite viable with ship or asteroid. That is.
I definitely prefer the idea of a mimic creature, though, and then it turns into some horrific abomination.
I think it'd be cool if it's like if it's on its own, if there's nothing nearby, it's like nothing. It's just like a pile of sludge. But if like a grunt comes nearby, it will turn into the grunt. If like a grunt guard, it will turn into the grunt guard. And it goes all the way up. It's like if there is the highest tier enemy nearby, it will turn into basically. So like you kind of have to take it out as early as you can because that's the easiest. Because if like an oppressor comes along, or God forbid a dreadnought spawns and there's a mimic around, you're gonna end up with 2 dreadnoughts, and I think that would be fucking insane. And I've grown quite fond of that idea now. But it's a bit off.
No, I like this idea because I like the idea of we have a set in stone prediction, and then sort of the want one. Where it's like new enemies, and then like tangentially from that, like mimic or something.
Yeah. Well, I think if it's an asteroid or a abandoned spaceship, let's say, a parasitic mimic the Thing kind of entity is like 90% chance.
But
like, we know they like the Thing and they are very much inspired by it, right? And if they found the opportunity to add anything resembling it to the game, I'm sure they'd not pass it.
Yeah, that's true. I just would wonder how they need to do a little bit more of it than that for it to sort of encompass the entire like narrative of the season. It's like, how do seasonal events come into that? How does that? It needs to have like a very major presence in the game. And a mimic is sort of designed to not be that, And
another issue is that the Thing's like one pronounced weak point that I'm aware of, I never watched the movie, shit looks scary, is fire.
Well, we'll just turn it on its head, you freeze it. You just have to freeze it instead.
That is actually true as well, though, isn't it? That's how it was. It being frozen is why it wasn't a threat. So you kind of there is a balance there. I think honestly, a Thing-like creature in whatever form that takes, maybe even a parasitic, like takeover host kind of thing, is like 90%.
And then you can get the dwarves. Honestly, and it like kills dwarves and like takes their form and their weapons.
Maybe because you love that idea, but honestly, I think I could agree, because if it's an asteroid or a spaceship, an abandoned spaceship, because I don't expect there to really be anything, especially with no robots, I think a parasitic thing like creature is like the highest chance. There's really they're not.
I don't want to know until else. I basically I don't want to know anything until they reveal the title, and then the title of the season is something like Seeing Double or something. It's just oh fuck, it's a mimic. We got it, and it like takes that long for us to know. I don't want it to come from the title or something. It's just, right.
I would like, because like they're like teasing like the kind of thing they're gonna add, like with the recon things. They had like the flashing in the distance and the nemesis, that kind of stuff. With the mimic, it should just have two dwarfs just rocking and stoning, and that should just be it. That's all that they should show. And like, why did they show us this? This is just two dwarfs rocking and stoning, but one of them is actually
no. It should be like a rock. It should just show like a piece of terrain, and then like you hear like bones crunching, and then like a dwarf walks out from behind it, and then like rock and salutes.
Yeah, I honestly I think that is really cool, and I honestly think it's quite high chance, especially because, and I think we're going to move on to this because this is an idea we came up with recently, but that is sci-fi, and they like adding sci-fi things. Meanwhile, I think our only other idea that we're fond of is the flesh biome.
Oh right, I thought you were going to talk about the dragons.
We are. The flesh biome being inside of a dragon.
Right. Right.
This is our more wild ones, but I genuinely think we have a valid reason to think that that's on the table.
Okay, so this is hold on, stop. Sense. So we need this is about predicting the actual nature of the object. So we need the set in stone prediction, which is sort of quite generalized, which is like I guess like I said, quite generalized, so probably just something like not a spaceship. I don't know.
Well, thing is, right, I don't think it really matters.
No.
Asteroids or abandoned spaceship, I think we're going to get the parasites either way. I think it would be kind of boring if they just did a meteorite and then made it parasites. Like, if they're going to do parasites, the abandoned spaceship is just more interesting. It's just a fact. You know what I mean? Like, what annihilated the crew of this ship? It's just more interesting than, oh, there's a thing on this meteorite. Like, it's just, that's, storytelling.
So,
it's just more interesting.
I would say then, it's actually, out of, there's sort of like three sort of weird options. Like, the option of it's a ship, the option of it's a meteorite, and the option of it's an abandoned ship. I think just being a ship is the least likely, and I think I'm going to write down abandoned ship / meteorite as sort of the likely scenario.
Yeah, like it's just a barren thing that contains something is the kind of implication that I think I could see them going for.
Is this just us not knowing anything for so long, bleeding into we think it's going to be like a really mysterious thing because we don't know anything? So it's sort of it's like bled over.
In all fairness, once again, I think we have valid reasons. We know they like the thing. We know that's like an established thing that as like a company they're fond of, right? That's like the inspiration of their music. So I think it's very likely that they could, if they wanted to, just add it to the game. I think it fits with the whole something alien coming down towards Hoxie's. I think it works in that regard in whatever form it takes. Like, I think it makes the most sense with what we're given, which is very little, so that's why it's mysterious.
But then the out there prediction for the nature of the object.
Honestly, they do that one, fair enough. They do this one, we are going to Denmark, right?
And
we are giving them a firm pat on the back.
That's it.
And I mean that in the not explicit version of what we would actually do. If they have it, so this thing is a like hibernating or maybe just flying dragon coming towards Hoxie's because Hoxie's is the richest fucking planet in the universe.
Yeah, we spoke.
And dragons loved rich places. They take it over. They fucking love it. And and they use the dragon.
Hold on, stop. Can I just say, Hoxie's is basically just space Erebor, isn't it? It's like it's the Lonely Mountain, but in space.
It's the Lonely Mountain, yeah. If it's like a dragon flies and lands on Hoxie's, and then we get the flesh pit biome because we're entering a dragon whose belly is full of minerals because it's a dragon. It loves fucking.
Does that mean it's dead though?
No, maybe.
I mean,
maybe it could. Well, I think that could be a thing. We could be slowly trying to kill it from the inside. That could be what the events are. And obviously that wouldn't make much sense in other biomes, but maybe some parts of it like moved out.
But
of
it
the
would
dragon.
need to be.
Maybe it's more.
Huge.
Maybe it's more of a sci-fi conceptual dragon. Like maybe it's not technically like identical to a dragon, but it's that universe's version of one where it actively strives to like kind of absorb rich planets. Right, that's what it kind of is.
Yeah.
So it's more flesh pit than dragon, but
this
it is conceptually
is
a dragon.
Sort of the flesh pit biome, but translated into a way that works for season 3. Because in earlier iterations, when people have come up with this idea, it's like it would be like a giant loot bug, like the loot bug hub. But that would be something that that's been there for a while and we just discovered. In this case, it doesn't work because we know that whatever we're dealing with is coming from elsewhere. So
I just want to point out that with this now being a more not literal version of a dragon, this is now just a bigger parasite. This is now a Hoxie-sized parasite instead of an enemy parasite. It will land on Hoxie's and try and start draining the minerals from it, which then the event will be finding like pores or like areas where they're draining resources and just getting rid of them so it doesn't steal all the resources. That honestly is now growing into quite likely.
It basically just moves through Hoxie's like a big drill and just sucks in minerals around it.
Yeah, and we kind of have to like singe the tips basically and make it go retreat back into itself, and like basically we're trying to make it leave or kill it. And I'm thinking more like, I don't know, maybe because I don't want it to be removed obviously, but killing it will make the whole flesh pit biome a bit weird. So maybe we just kind of, and this is like end of season, we just push it into a state of hibernation. Maybe it realizes it can't expand out, so it's trying to wait us out.
Or there is sort of like, or maybe Ghost Ship actually puts their foot on the gas and creates like a raid boss like mission that you do at the end of the season, and you like kill the heart. I guess you go in and destroy the heart, and it's still there, just a corpse, but it's dead.
I think there could even be, if they wanted to add another game mode, that could be something. Maybe because honestly, if it having multiple hearts would make sense. You know what I mean? If it's like just a being.
Unfortunately, that mission would probably be Doretta drilling into the heart, and you have to protect it.
Well, maybe, and it would be another one of those stationary boss fights, which I'm not fond of. But I don't know. I think this idea has, like a dragon, grown wings, in my opinion, because
or even multiple Dorettas.
Like, if they called it like a dragon, but it's not technically a dragon, it's still like a very sci-fi being with given a fantasy label.
So obviously
works.
Obviously we are getting a bit carried away with this, and I sort of want to
I think this we're doing no more.
I don't need to bring it back on track, but I just want to say I'm happy that we're putting this out there. It's almost like just in case.
Yeah. Like this is our wildest theory, but I also genuinely believe it's possible as far as the game's concerned. It would add a flesh pit biome that they have established that they're interested in making. We can already imagine what the biome looks like, but also then the events created of it, right? It would also make sense as to why then the minerals are going to be in this being because it's consuming them. So then that would kind of make sense that wise. Like, I can see everything. And enemy-wise, it's going to be like it's bacteria or something like that. Bacteria. Like what would be on a microscopic scale for normal things are now giant. And they're going to be enemies that kind of just also are like absorbing minerals, like trying to consume and like will protect the flesh pit. So I think literally the flesh pit idea has that kind of stuff in it. I don't know if you've actually read up on it or like watched the video, because I have, like, before it was even popular. Which that's not fair. I watched the original video that made it popular. But yeah, the flesh pit itself in the canonical source of some guy on the internet, it like kind of has creatures in it, which is quite similar to like glyphids. They are insect-based creatures that like will kill and do.
So would it basically replace certain glyphids?
Like, say replace.
Well, like the grunts, they could just give them like a new skin and a name. And it's just like these are like ones in. Cause like the grunts probably wouldn't survive being digested, but you can imagine like a bunch of other creatures,
that's the
like
thing.
Praetorians and oppressors, could probably survive being like eaten. Like oppressors specifically.
The flesh pit doesn't actually eat, but it can absorb. Like if what happened to, like, there was like 10 people that went missing on the flesh pit track, and this is canonical. I watched it ages ago, and they got kind of lost.
Wait, hold on, sorry. Canonical to what?
Well, the flesh pit is a ARG kind of just analog. It's not really analog horror. They did it all in the form of like posters. Like it's pretty cool, but and like books and like diaries. Point is, from the source of the person that came up with the flesh pit idea that people are now wanting to be added into the game, the flesh pit kind of consumes people but doesn't consume them. It just kind of merges them. Like it basically, like 10 people got lost, I think it was like that, and then they kind of ended up being consumed by the thing, and people found them later, and they were basically just one entity of like people combined, of just basically begging for death, I think.
Or attacking people.
I'm not sure at the end. But the point is, that is what the flesh pit could do. Maybe it could combine enemies. It could have like I don't know, like an oppressor combined with a slasher, and it's like this. It's a lot more creepy looking, but it could like merge enemies in like an abomination type way. Like,
well, that's
and I think that would be really
horrifying.
fucking cool. Yeah, and I think that generally as a game, I don't know if you've seen the concept art, but they really do. Conceptually, they design everything very horror. Like it looks.
Oh yeah,
so,
we're going to do an episode on this, by the way.
Yeah, they design it very nightmarishly, but then it gets kind of childized, like kind of like more reasonable eyes. That's not really a word or anything, but they kind of, you know, they don't make it as terrifying in the art style. The art style kind of reasons it out a bit, which I think we'll probably do the same with these things, but there'll still be elements of there. Like maybe there's going to be like tumorous growths sticking out of them, and you kind of have to aim there. They're more weak point based, you know, because like if a slasher met an oppressor, that's going to be a very hard thing to fight, unless it has more weak points because of the growth didn't really merge them perfectly. Point is, I have grown very fond of this idea, but I still think the older one is more rational of a thing to add.
Yeah, but we do need to take the biome part of that and sort of run with it, because we're not what we discussed main like content, you know, assuming there's new enemies. We discussed the nature of the object, but then there's the other sort of third to this, which is the form that will take in game.
Yeah.
Big gameplay component. Not just like new enemies. It's just like Season 1 it was the mission, Season 2 it's the warning, goodbye him, anomaly. Yeah. Well, and then you said those because also... that's the options really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, but obviously they can step on their own shoes. There's nothing saying they can't do another anomaly, another warning, or another mission. And I think mission is more likely than warning. I'm going to be honest, but also they could add more. They could add anomaly and a biome, anomaly and a mission.
Well, I think an anomaly and warning could be something.
Yeah, maybe
that or biome or mission.
Yeah, biome and warning. Point is, they just that kind of thing, and I think. Obviously, we are leaning towards biome.
Because they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, with either of these ideas, there's a very strong biome identity. Like, an impact zone of a meteor could get interesting, right? But also, with that idea, the more parasitic anomalies... Well, parasites would feel, or the mimics, rather, would feel more warning, wouldn't they? not really anomaly. That you could get an anomaly side to it, because maybe Paris.
Well, the anomaly thing worked a little bit better for my like mini biome idea, where it's sort of like an area that you can that can show up in normal missions that you can explore, and it's like an impact zone of a fragment of the meteor.
Yeah,
and so you don't have to go. It's like highly rewarding, but it's like very dangerous, and you don't have to go there.
Normally, I would shut this idea down because you're a fucking idiot. But honestly, with the way that they've done to warnings with the rival presence, and they're now adding more to warnings. You know, warnings now actually include physical additions to the mission, like an event. Anomalies could start doing the same. I think that if an anomaly,
my idea is that the anomaly would be like a big room that's added on somewhere, or not really a room. It would be. It could be in plain sight, but I would want it to be to work as an anomaly. It would need to be optional because I would still want it to be dangerous, but it would be very optional as well.
I think maybe you could have it so if you're in a room, you have the normal dirt in, dirt out. But with this, if there was a meteorite that landed there, there would be like a funnel hole going through down from the room. So there will be a hole somewhere in the room. I'm saying in the middle of the room, but it could be anywhere in the room. That hole straight down that would lead into the meteorite zone, let's say, where whatever the event reward is there, or like I don't know, something is down there. So you would have to, because that would make more sense if you know what I mean. Like, because then it's technically out of the way, but it's not like to the side and there's like a dirt leading there, because that wouldn't make any sense. But like, it's either that or that meteorite sphere, let's say, is in the room, just in like a corner of it or something, so you can avoid it.
Well, even better would be if it's like the fragments are. It's not really fragments. It just ends up somehow. It's just a bunch of big balls, and then you crack them open, and then you like it's like sort of like a mini biome inside the ball or something. But I think this is sort of this is kind of my want prediction. But I think I've written down biome / anomaly, as in that's either both or one or the other, as sort of the most likely. But then I'm going to write down mini biome as my sort of outlet.
I think I could see it because this is going a bit back, but like in Fortnite, ages and ages ago, when there was a meteorite, which that might have happened like 3 times.
It's probably happened like 5 times.
But
it's like a giant cube that's like inside itself, and like it's like a portal to like the same place. It's like Fortnite's fucking wild, by the way.
Yeah, it's getting a bit much.
They added like in like the last like month, they added like Dragon Ball like stuff, like Dragon Ball powers and Destiny like powers and shit.
Destiny?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that one.
They sort of like ghost dropped it like shortly after the Dragon Ball one. It's just like, how the fuck are they? This is crazy. I respect how much shit is in that game. It's not like so necessarily my thing.
That they can just do whatever they want.
Yeah, it's not really my thing, but I just respect like how crazy it is.
Yeah, and they're leaning into it, which is cool. But to get back on track, I think what Fortnite did is they had like a meteorite hit like Dusty Depot, and the meteorite it left like things that you could pick up that would make you levitate more, that you could jump into the air, which is basically low gravity in the game.
Well, yeah, but these mini biomes would be like all over the place. You can basically fly.
Yeah, but I'm not fond of the mini biome idea technically, but if they added like meteorite shards in the mission, where if you went up to them and picked them up, they gave you some form of buff, I would say that would tick the anomaly box. Like
that would be an anomaly, and that would leave room for a bigger
mission,
like name thing as well. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, but something like that, and I think we're done with this, like the first fifth of the thing.
Yeah, but it's probably going to be the grenade section could be quite long, but I think that's probably it. And we got enough time.
Yeah,
just about. I do need a piss though.
Okay, well we'll pause for that then.
I will pause for that. Yeah. Cool stuff. I just went for a piss.
All right. While you were gone, I did think of something. Not actually think of anything, but if we're doing a whole bingo card thing, I want the word parasite written down, because Whether it's any of the three things coming to the wards, coming to Hoxie's, I genuinely believe in some way or another it's going to be a form of parasite.
Yeah, and I think the way we're doing this, I think whatever the forfeit is, because we're going to do a forfeit, but it's going to be for both of us, right? And I'm thinking, we're going to like be quite generous, where it's like if we don't get at least like 3 things right or something, then we have to do the forfeit, and that's going to be quite a. We'll see. I'll probably decide more on that at the end once we've actually got all of our predictions written down. But anyway, the next thing. Oh yeah, why? I just don't care. I don't. Fuck. So the next thing on the roadmap is just new performance pass, and making predictions in regards to this is probably going to be a little bit weird.
I think
there's the obvious stuff: new weapon skins, new armor skins, new headgear, new hair, and moustaches and all that crap. So we can get a little bit more specific. Yeah, probably it's probably gonna be the most idealistic part of this, actually.
I think all we can really we can't guess. Nothing to go on. They could do anything with these.
They don't even have to do another framework, but they will, right? And that's sort of the thing I want to predict more so.
And I think that's the only thing we can actually make a not an educated guess, just a guess on. Just literally just a single shot in the dark. As far as performance pass, and I don't know. I think they kind of went pretty sharp, futuristic with Rival Tech. Then, actually, that's the DLC. Wasters was sharp. They rounded it out with Builder's Choice. I would say they could go more cubic, except that.
I'm thinking a little bit more steampunkish.
Yeah.
Or diesel
more
punkish.
Like pipes and tubes. Or gears.
Yeah. I don't know. It is actually difficult to think of like a theme for another framework. To be honest, it really is.
God forbid they do it. But no, I can see a steampunk one. Honestly, add some like gears and like pipes and stuff, and then make it the color scheme pretty. They're brown. That there's something there. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean it's now, but like I'm not sure if we can think of many more looks really.
Well, there's a really cool, and I've just latched onto it because it was like, I think it was 2 years ago. So it was like the art showcase before, I think it was last anniversary. I think it was around Scale Brigade time. The art showcase. They showcased a lot of armor concept art, and there was something that looked quite Rival Tech-esque, but there was also like old sort of diesel punk-esque like diver suits, and they were like covered in like moss and like foliage. And it was like diver suits, and damn it, there's a very good word for it that I'm not really thinking of. It's like this deep sea sort of steampunk hybrid aesthetic that I want to see that armor, but I also think they showed frameworks in that sort of same lane, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. So potentially even with bits of like, maybe not necessarily plants, but like things like hanging off, and like,
I think
like netting and things. I'm not sure. Like,
there's something there. I mean, generally, it's not actually that tied to the main seasonal content either. Like at least the Waster kind of, but Builder's Choice not at all. There's nothing to do with the robots.
Yeah, I'm going to say something actually about Builder's Choice. Actually, no, I won't save it for the DLC because we should probably talk about armor, and I don't, because armor as like new armor in game that's not DLC. I don't know if that is more. I don't know how likely that is, because the trends would suggest unlikely. They haven't really been inclined to do that. Sort of almost like anymore. It's like they're not going to do it again. Almost, it feels like they're just going to do armors for DLCs.
Literally, Mark 1 to 5, and then Scale Brigade.
That's all the non-DLC armor, and the actually the streamer armor is technically DLC. I hope we can get that at some point.
What?
It's the streamer armor. for streamers.
Oh.
A lot of people have it.
That's not nice.
I really want it. We might be able to get it eventually because we're cool.
That's true. Actually, we are cool. But yeah. So I mean, it's unlikely. I mean, I wish it was likely that we'd get some armor.
Yeah,
in the past,
but
considering I guessed that last time, but I come out of that pretty.
Well, no. There's a couple of reasons why I think it might be a little bit more likely, and it's because now we don't have much, a very big sample size for this, but the trends would suggest that we're getting a framework for the DLC as well, because the last time it was armor. And there was a framework before that. Yeah, Robot Rebellion was the armor. It was the DLC for Season 2.
Right, yeah.
And in Season 1, it was the Rival Tech framework.
Isn't it 2 sets of armor, then 1 weapon framework, though?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, but I don't think that's really set in stone.
Technically,
it could be either.
If you follow the pattern, armor is more likely.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying though, because you look at Season 1, we got the Waster framework, and then we got the armor for it. There's a chance that if the DLC is armor, it could be like a builder's choice styled armor, and
which would fucking suck.
Oh yeah, unless it doesn't.
Well, because also people, well, at least we take it the way that builder's choice is quite heavily tied to roughneck look, like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, builder's choice. Yeah, I think probably.
They got the same color scheme.
No, because I think like a builder's choice armor could. Jesus Christ.
So
that's the object passing by Earth. It's going to hit us on a parabolic trajectory. No, what I'm saying is like I think there is actually a chance that a builder's choice armor could be really good because it's like it would be the most high tech sort of dwarf built armor. It doesn't look like they just scrapped it together. It would look like DOG class armor, but they still clearly made it themselves. That's sort of what I would envisage for Builder's Choice. But then again, that's sort of a bit too similar to Robot Rebellion in concept. So I'd rather see something like the diver suits.
Yeah, just something new, a new look would be nice.
Yeah, and it would pair with that. If that was a framework as well, it would pair nicely. The in-game framework, or not the other way around. It's just like that could potentially be a framework DLC as well. Actually, framework DLCs because we only got 2 so far, and it's Megacorp and Rival Tech, and they look it. There's Megacorp's fairly simple, but it's still got something going on that makes it look a bit more appropriate for a DLC than other frameworks.
Was originally like the biggest changer of looks of the lot, really. I think, I guess other than maybe Glyphid Trophy Hunter.
Well, no, because you literally take all of them, even the Ravager, which adds a lot and changes a lot of shapes, and Builder's Choice can do that sometimes as well. Megacorp and Rival Tech are the only ones where some of the weapons almost lose like their profile, almost, or come closest to it. They really are the biggest changes, and that's what you'd expect from a framework DLC, which is why I'd be very open to that because it still comes with, a good framework and like the armor and weapon skins. Because I like armor skins a lot, and it would come with that as well.
If you wanted like the not cyberpunk, the steampunk look, you would prefer it to be DLC because then it'll be better.
Yes.
And not what, but except that I would argue that the frameworks in the passes have been like DLC level. They are. Like,
definitely. They've definitely tried they've definitely put more into those than. Well,
last one.
The first lot, because Neon and maybe Scale Brigade as well, because Neon Band and Fourth Relic came after like the first bunch, which was Glyphid Trophy Hunter, mechanized and custom engineered. Then along came Fourth Relic and Neon Band, which are a little bit more, and then Scale Brigade. That was just a cool update. I don't even know what to say about that. But the season, the ones that have been in the cosmetic tree, they do seem very high effort. Even if some of like the Builder's Choice ones feel a little bit uninspired, I think they put a lot of effort into all of those designs.
I think best case scenario is steampunk armor, so then it looks fucking amazing. You know what I mean? In whatever form it takes, and then steampunk weapons in the past. I think that would create a very cool
I
feel.
think for this sort of pseudo bingo card thing I'm doing, I'm just going to combine cosmetics and DLC because as in it's just cosmetics. It's not like performance pass and DLC. I'm not going to separate those.
Just more
just cosmetics
more
on the whole.
You know, you like because you can obviously have the gun skins like that's free in the game, but then if you want it to match your armor, you can pay for the DLC.
I think
you
I
only
want
do that if you care about your looks, which is what the DLC is.
Well, no, I've realised I want new armor sort of either way. So I'd rather the DLC be armor than frameworks.
Which is
because we've gotten
significantly higher chance.
Because we've gotten more. We've gotten good frameworks both seasons. So if they're not going to add armor in game, I'd rather the DLC be armor than get 2 frameworks in the season again, So that's my ideal: is steampunk armor DLC, and then I think, I guess there's definitely a case to be made for perhaps a reasonable prediction about changes that could be made to the composition of cosmetics in the past. Maybe there'll be less headgear, but it's sort of just a question of, well, what would there be in its stead?
Was that actually that big of an outcry of it?
No,
because we have an issue with it, but nobody else really cares. And if that's the case, then they're not going to do anything about it. Ghost Ship's game. If there's not actual tangible feedback or the negative feedback.
Hold on. Do you think? I think what we should put down is because I think a new hair color is basically guaranteed.
That is up there,
but I'm not going to write it down because that's basically guaranteed. I want to write down the new skin colour.
Oh.
But as a likely one, I think.
Yeah. I think it's about time.
Well, yeah, because like I said, when it comes to actually predicting what's going to be, what new cosmetics there'll be, there's no point getting really specific. I think they're going to add like a Pope hat or something. There's no point saying things like that.
It goes wide but not far down.
No, but when it comes to things they haven't necessarily done yet, they went out of their way to add new hair colours. I think a new skin colour is very likely, at least one.
I think it's about time.
Because that's more of a prediction. That's more of a prediction than saying, "Oh, I want this specific hat," because we know they're going to be adding hats. So there's no point predicting specific hats.
Probably a lot of them.
So I'm actually going to write down skin colour as the likely cosmetic prediction. And the want one, the ideal one, is the steampunk armor DLC. And well, we could probably leave it there because I don't really care to talk about cosmetics until we see them.
We've spent too long on that as it is. So
really,
yeah,
really,
we're gonna run out of time.
Really. Oh look, it's everyone's favourite grenades. I would like to refer people to podcast episode, whatever it was.
It was our 10th, and that's why it's whenever you click on our channel, it's that video that pops up. Because first of all, I think that was one of our best podcasts, which is then one of our best videos. But it was our 10th, so I thought it was important enough to make our banner video. But yeah, if you want to go through all of our ideas, how we came up with them.
Oh my god, do you want me to list all of the grenades?
No.
Oh right, sorry.
If you, the audience, wants to know all of them, then watch that video. Bear in mind, Tom is there, so it gets a bit chaotic.
Yeah, he said some weird things.
But in the end, it was actually, until the end, it was pretty good. The end was just kind of the combination of our longest video ever and us decaying.
Mm-hmm.
So
what we did try to do though is sort of file down or filter down what the most likely ones are from our ideas.
Which do you remember?
Not specifically, but I think we can do better than whatever we said there. Probably because that was probably shrouded in indecency. So. I mean, I don't really need to dance around this. My prediction for... Or actually, before we get to specific grenades, it's sort of like how many we need to take this and head on. Right?
I think if you want to do the thing, I think it's likely that we'll get 2. I want 3.
I think it's slight. No. We need to be very realistic, and my very realistic take is slightly more likely to get 2 than anything else. Much less likely to get 3 than 1, but more likely to get 2 than 1, slightly.
Which is honestly my only worry at this point. My only thing I fear about the season is if we get 1 grenade each class, then they can fuck off.
I'm writing down 2 per class because I do think it's the most likely, not by a massive amount, but I do think it's the most likely, and I think it's the most necessary.
Well, bear in mind that, grenades have already matched the amount of loadouts. And now we have 2 more loadouts, 2 more grenades. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I also think 2 grenades per character doesn't inherently match a new weapon, but it's definitely much closer than 1 grenade.
Yes. We discussed this, and I think we'll go over it again very quickly. I made the point that it doesn't even matter if they're really good. 1 grenade per, and if the other content added in the season is incredible, 1 grenade per class will be disappointing no matter what. And I say that, but it's actually not true. On face value, it would be more disappointing. It wouldn't be though if they did some cool shit, like adding, grenade overclocks or mods. That would sort of compensate, but we don't. I don't even necessarily think that's the best course of action. I
don't think they're doing that.
No,
at all.
But I think that would make up for if there's only 1, because that would add a lot more to all the grenades. But no, it's got to be 2 grenades per class, and that's just what writing down is the most likely. When it comes to that side of things, when it comes to specific grenades, hold on, sorry. So the want for this is either the realistic prediction is 2 per class. The idealistic prediction is 3 per class for you, and then overclocks for me. But then it comes down to specific grenades, as in what kind of things you're actually going to get. And I have 2. I've meant that I've said to you as the 2 that I think are most likely. At least 1 melee grenade and at least 1 automated drone type grenade. Even if it's just a suicide drone that just homes in and explodes. It could be that simple. Those are my 2 that I put forward. And then sort of just as a side, it's probably probably a grenade for a status effect that doesn't have a grenade yet. Probably,
Which is there actually one?
There's plenty.
Corrosion. Corrosion grenade, I think is definitely up there as far as I'm concerned.
Well, there's plenty of status effects that don't have grenades. There's more that don't than do.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, there's no. Well, it depends on what you dedicated. Obviously, a lot of grenades have fear. A lot of grenades have stun. So in that context, you're right.
Well,
electricity, the lure doesn't actually do that. So electricity is technically not. IFG. That's a weird one even. Because the IFG is kind of but it's not actually electricity. But it's corrosion, radiation.
Radiation.
Yeah, that's actually it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you got fire, neurotoxin, cryo. Okay, I know there's more, but I am pulling up short. I've got to. Stun and fear from the other gunner's grenades. Pheromones, which is pretty weird. Not weird. It makes sense, but it's kind of weird that pheromones is very little, but it has its own grenade. But yeah, I think corrosion. The only reason it probably doesn't already have a grenade is because they haven't added grenades since corrosion was a status effect. So I think it's definitely up there, which I look forward to. I don't look forward to. I don't know why I said that. It's just my bet is a corrosion grenade.
Okay, right.
That's that. I'm if I had to say who would have it, probably Gunner. That's my pick.
Yes. And probably no one else. I don't think it would actually suit anyone else.
Definitely not Scale.
It kind of suits Engineer actually.
I wouldn't say kind of. I wouldn't be like what if it went on Engineer. Sure, but I think really it suits Gunner the most, especially since it would probably be like a charge shot from the goo cannon, and it would kind of spread out, which is quite similar to his, frag grenade. So he's used to kind of having,
to be honest,
area.
Well, no, I see the corrosion grenade going two ways. Whether either it's just a charge shot or like it's that, but combined with if it like leaves sludge on the ground if you were to like roll it, say. And I think that suits Gunner a little bit more because then it's not just a cluster grenade. You can like have like a firewall you can set up or something.
It could even be like a smaller one. Like you could get 10 of them and you just kind of like throw it and it'll make like a small puddle that lasts a couple seconds, or it'll just corrode an enemy. So it's just like a little helper grenade or something like that. But point is, corrosion as a grenade, that's my bet. If it's on anyone specifically, if this gets me bonus points, Gunner. But yeah, that's the only thing I can say with confidence.
Okay, so the sort of more out there one, the thing that we would just want, and I think we're both on the same page here, unless we add something else.
I don't know where you're going with this, but
Gunner getting a hammer.
No,
that's not your one.
Not really. Because the hammer is not that different to the axe. Let's be realistic. It will act pretty much the same. Meanwhile, throwing knives for the scout, that is something I can get behind.
I suppose so, because that was something that that's sort of the melee thing, but more specified.
Your main one, yeah. But like, it will be melee, yet it will feel completely different to the axes. It will be like.
Well, no, because like the hammer and the throwing knives would be like going off either end. Like the hammer would be hard AOE, very little ammo. The throwing knives would be like just single target and a lot of ammo.
Yeah.
And then the axes would be in the middle.
Yeah, but realistically, the use of the axes and the hammer will be very similar. You would just throw it in front of things, and it would just do obscene amounts of damage. Meanwhile, with the throwing knives, it would be like you just kind of like tick in. You just like if we came up with a lot of ideas with the throwing knives. Like there was like try shots, there was bleeding effects, there was like sticking in the floor and people would step on it. We came up with a lot of shit with them, which is just all sparking into my mind. But I think as a whole, throwing knives is a very different feeling way of adding melee, and I think Scout would be alright with melee. A ranged melee, allowing him to do ranged vampire, it works better for Scout, I feel. Like, I think that's fair enough for Scout to have access to that. Meanwhile, Gunner doesn't really need it, and the hammer, as cool as it would be, would feel pretty like Axe 2.0. And I mean that also
unless it just didn't
than Axes.
And they just made it distinct and good. Because they could.
Like, but also no. How would they do it?
I don't know, but you're probably not wrong, but I don't think there's much good reason to assume how it would turn out. That's not my ideal. My ideal form of the hammer wouldn't feel like the axe. Yeah, but that's the point of these more idealistic predictions.
Sure. But I think just generally as a whole, I would much rather, the hammer just doesn't sit right, especially over the Scout throwing knives. So I was almost certain you were going to go for the Scout throwing knives.
I forgot about it.
Like, yeah. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure we gave Engineer one. I think we gave him the boomerang.
Yeah,
I'm
glad we
ditched that. But
well, I suppose if we wanted
that,
what? Huh?
That is how I would see the axe, the hammer. The boomerang I prefer more than the hammer if you were to add it to the game. It conceptually will be used so much differently than the axes and the throwing knives.
Well, that's what,
that it has more valid of a place.
The point of that was in the podcast where we discussed that, we just tried to give each class a melee grenade.
I know.
And it was like Gunner gets a hammer, Scout gets the knives, and Engineer gets the boomerang.
Yeah. But I don't agree with Engineer.
No, but I want them to all have one, to be honest.
Yeah, but no, tough. I don't think they should at all. Having ranged melee is very strong, and it shouldn't be something that everyone has access to. First of all, it will get rid of a very strong part of Driller's identity, as a whole. Like, because his axes are the only.
You mean the
grenade
problematic part of his identity? The fact that Driller has ranged melee is the part of his identity that you want to downplay. So I don't really know where this is coming from.
I don't. What do you mean downplay?
As you think he's
see my fucking wave cooker overclock, which is the range melee is basically that. I don't want to downplay it. I just want it to not be the only option. And I want the other options to come up to how strong that is. And I don't think giving every other character access to it will make it less strong. It will just mean the main build on Driller is just a thing everyone else has access to. And it would feel kind of shitty. Meanwhile, I think if you have scouts throwing knives, it feels less so, because it would be more just kind of like just trying to help in the fight, not the axes that end them. Basically, it would have a different feeling. Meanwhile, I assume your image of Gunner's hammer is something that you could literally just throw into a horde of grunts and it would just like kill everything. And you'd have like 2 of them, I imagine, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, which is fair, and I would also like to say that I think you should combine. I think if we combined the hammer with the boomerang idea, remember in Thor Ragnarok, the beginning of the movie, the hammer.
Well, yeah, I should say the hammer. If it was to be added, it's going to be called Mjolnir. Right?
Yeah, which I pretty public domain, right? They can get away with that.
Of course, it's public domain. Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, they could very easily do that, and obviously then you could argue it'd also be the lightning. You could add lightning to it. That would be a lightning offensive. Like, honestly,
yeah, that would be the electric grenade as well.
Yeah, an electric grenade that is a throwing hammer that maybe you could throw as like a boomerang, so it feels different and you use it differently. Like, you throw it not at the target but to the side of it, so it clears through them all in like a diagonal way. Just using it differently to the axes is all I'm asking for. Like that, just not something that where you would look at an enemy and just throw it and it would kill them, because that's all the axes do. The throwing knives, you'd look at an enemy, throw it, but it wouldn't inherently kill it. It would help you in other ways. That it would like stack bleed, or like, I don't know, do something else like that. That's the point of the throwing knives. And also, if you wanted, it would be ranged vampire just to finish off some enemies. But the hammer needs to be distinct enough.
Yeah, but I'm still writing down Mjolnir for me. I'm just going to do it just for me.
But I'm just taken aback that was you. I don't know. I get why you preferred that. It felt
no. I forgot about the knives.
But yeah,
I think the knives are actually fairly likely as well, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, the knives are like one of the only ideas that I'm actually like kind of expecting. Well, not confidently expecting it. That is my kind of like, if they're cool, they'll add it.
I am kind of expecting either a corrosion or radiation grenade, to be honest.
I think radiation grenade is somewhat likely.
Well, I just think I'm expecting either one, because I'm just expecting either one of those.
I think you've also kind of, right, Gunner, if they don't give corrosion to Gunner, they're giving him, right, I think corrosion and radiation, if they're adding both of those grenades, it's going to be either between Gunner and Engineer, and one's going to have the other. Like, because it makes sense for it makes sense for, I think, radiation to be on Engineer.
Engineer should get radiation, it wouldn't really...
Yeah, but it makes sense for his character, but then it's also like, he's already kind of got it, Meanwhile, I think Gunner having access to radiation, which I don't think he actually has, does he?
Gunner's got no way to create, like, those kind of things, like choke points or, like, lingering effects. So yes, that's good on Gunner.
Well,
something he doesn't really have.
Flame grenade.
Yeah, not as much though. I think the radiation probably lasts longer and more effective against. It would also be able to affect air units more effectively, and radiation does inflict slowdown as well, a little bit.
Grenade should just be a stick of uranium.
Oh my god! He just jams it in the ground.
It's just always active in his pocket and everything. He just gets used to it.
When you hold it in your hand, you get irradiated.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think elemental grenades make sense, and I think the melee grenades make sense. I expect one or the other. And you also think of drone type enemy, which is
automated grenade of some kind, where it's like smart or homing, or like some kind of little drone thing.
Which I think is vague.
It could be I kept it vague because it could be very simple, but it still retains the automated function where seeks things out. That's all it needs to really tick that card for me.
Yeah. Which I think if you want to know more ideas, watch podcast 10.
Yeah, but at the same time, the ones we discussed here are the best ones.
Yeah.
So, the rest of them don't really count.
We came up with them. And plus, as mentioned, we went into quite a bit of creating with the throwing knives. That was like 20 minutes of just ideas.
Yeah, because the throwing knives is probably the best idea.
Yeah, that's definitely the coolest. Especially because, it came up with so many. I think in the end, we were kind of fond of throwing 3 at a time, as in like a little arc.
It's like a dart monkey.
Well, yeah, like Genji, that kind of thing.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Shut up.
Examples people know.
Balloons is far more based than Overwatch.
Yeah, just because that's true doesn't mean I can't say it. But also, I didn't really register what you said until after I'd said it. Point is, I think we're done with grenades here. Those are our bets.
Place your bets!
To corrode, corrosion grenade. And you expect Mjolnir.
I don't expect Mjolnir. I expect... No, I don't. I don't. I expect a... Fuck you. Right. What? Huh? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's time for the weird one. Weird fella. No, it's just wild cards. It's just anything. Anything that you want. We know what the ideal is. We've been over this. You might have forgotten. I'm just going to write it down. Fuck it. Ideal. Retirement.
Yeah.
Let's just write it down.
The thing is I kind of want to get what wild cards kind of are.
Yeah, but you can't.
I can, kind of. Wild cards are solutions to problems. They are... Yeah. People are not buying from the store. We had phase unite. People are complaining about.
Okay, yes, you're right. But what did season 1 have in that lane?
Season 1 had the season pass concept. Season 1 doesn't count.
Hold on. Did season 1 have the Matrix core thing? Was that season 1?
No, that was season 2.
Oh, was it
season 2? Yeah.
I considered season 1's wildcard the hacking device.
Season 1's wildcard was the concept of seasons. It's the season pass. It was that. That's
season
what it
3's wildcard is that it won't be a season.
Yeah, they got rid of them, which I think was on the table. I mean, they established it. If it didn't go well, they get rid of it. But I think they've also now established that it has gone well. Like they mentioned, in the season pass that morale and attention and all that has been up, which I think is based in reality.
The season based. Concept, I agree with that. It's very based.
The season concept has kept people playing for a lot longer, I imagine, which is probably for the best. But yeah, it's It's basically if the people complain.
I think I got it, Tyler.
Complaints. It's not even people's.
I think I know what a quite likely one will be.
It's just whatever they think needs a bit of zhuzh, as far as the game's concerned. What they've kind of abandoned. Or haven't really interacted with or noticed a problem like mechanically in the game, like the fact that no one was complaining about not being able to buy from the store, but the Ghost Ship noticed that no one was buying from the store. That's kind of just a thing, that you can't really afford it in the earlier levels, or even up until level 300. So yeah, it's just something like that, which I think promotions, the infinite promotion or retirement or that kind of thing is on that list. It will come under that kind of category.
Yeah, but I think it's what's more likely is, because I wrote that down just as the ideal one, I think what's more likely is something that more people have been more vocal about and the devs have been slightly receptive to, which is the use for excess perk points. Because people really don't shut up about it, actually. Or at least there hasn't really been a time where it hasn't really been on people's minds. It gets brought up just not constantly, but it's been like the same level of like on the community's mind, just like forever.
Yeah, for like the last ever, yeah. And I swear they probably responded to that question so many times. I'm pretty sure they did it in the anniversary stream.
You know what? I don't actually know what the responses have been to that, to be honest.
I think, I know you've given me the response because I talk about it a lot, but like that there is supposed to be an excess so people can play however they want.
Yes.
Right? They don't want to limit it. And I then say this is a bit much of an excess.
Well, yeah,
right?
but there should be an excess, but that doesn't mean there can't also be another use for them.
Yeah. So that's kind of as far as we've ever gotten, but I'm pretty sure Ghost Ship is aware of that. And whether or not, because as much as we've kind of mentioned, one grenade would be disappointing. If it was one grenade per class and a perk update, that would sit a bit better.
So you think an actually likely wildcard is a couple new perks?
I wouldn't say it's likely, but what else could you do with the excess stars,
you know what?
other than add more perks?
Do you know what I'm going to do for the wildcards? We're not going to do ideal predictions, because that's what they all are.
Yeah.
So retirement,
just additional perks.
New perks.
Because what else could they do with the stars? Like, because if they added more perks, that uses more stars, right?
Yeah.
That's just how that works.
I'm also going to write down new beers as well.
Yeah.
Not only...
A revamp.
Well, my for the beers, if I think they're going to touch the beers without, like, doing a lot, I think what it would literally be is, like, a replacement for Dark Morkite, which would be, like, just all minerals, like, by a little bit or something. And then also add, like, Bronze Beer Bitter.
Objective. Like, objective things get done quicker. So it boosts your Morkite gain. It speeds up like your time in point extraction, or like I don't know. Just it makes objectives easier. The drink, maybe because that's basically what it does for Morkite. I don't see why it can't do it for.
It'd be called Builder's Choice.
Yeah, I mean that sounds ridiculous, but I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
You repair Doretta faster. Doretta would.
You repair everything faster.
You build and repair everything faster. I don't know what effect it would have on point extraction. I don't know. Maybe you have like a little bit of ammo that you can put in the turrets or something. I don't
know. Point extraction. Yeah, I think maybe I don't know. Maybe for that kind of stuff, it would get rid of a quark. So you have to get 9 instead of 10. So it's just a bit easier.
That's dumb.
Is it dumb? How many times have you been sitting there on 9 and never been able to find like the 10th one? Because that happens a lot and it's very annoying. But like, I don't see how else you could speed it up unless the quarks spawn closer to the outside of the wall, or the turrets have more ammo or something like that. But like, I think turning Dark Morkite, either getting rid of it or turning it more general is really the only options.
Yeah,
but not only that. But I think
I used to say about craft beers. It's in the game. It's got like I think as far as I know, it's got voice lines. It's got the logo, Bronzebeard Bitter. Everyone, which is obviously more of an idealistic one because there's no good reason to add it, but it's also no good reason to not add it.
I think if they're going to add some special beers or tinker with special beers, they should just lean into it and touch up the bar. Add more craft beers. Add more special beers. Maybe change how it works a little bit.
When was the tip robot added?
That was like probably Doretta, I think, around then.
Yeah, it wasn't very recent, was it?
That's within the last 4 updates, Harry. You got to consider that recent. Actually, I guess 5.
A recent update, but not recent in terms of time.
Yeah, but we shouldn't look into time.
Oh God, there's not that many jukebox songs. That's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that is another thing as well. Wildcard wise, they might add another mini game to the hub. I think I mentioned in the seasonal model breakdown that hub additions is a thing. A
hacking-based mini game.
Yeah, I think that's possible, especially if hacking as a whole is going to be less prevalent. there may be like a. In fact, no, I can see it. Yeah.
Well, I consider hacking a mini game anyway. It's like a little mini. Yeah. It's always a quick time. It's a quick time event, is what it is. But it's like a little mini game that you do in missions sometimes.
But then maybe it's going to be like the barrel ones, where it's in like, I don't know where it could be, like in like a corner somewhere, and it's like you have to keep hacking for as long as you can until you fail, and then it will like a high score basically.
Yeah, it's exactly
it'll be like an arcade. It'll be like an arcade machine. That you hack. Like you don't play the arcade machine, you hack the arcade machine, and so as you're hacking it, you're increasing your high score, but not because the hacking is the arcade machine. You're hacking the arcade machine to give you a high score. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. Do you remember the idea I had for how hacking could still be incorporated? Where it's like the idea was that the object is like an alien ship, and there aren't dirt walls. Instead of dirt walls, it's like doors you have to hack through. Yeah. Which I think is a cool idea, but that's not like we know that's not likely or actually what we want. It's just a cool idea.
Patrol bot hacking, I'm still not that fond of. But as far as the new form of hacking they had in season 2, I like it, like the wire cutting. I think that could be fun, or maybe switching it up in that mini game in like the hub. But I do think
there's probably both. You go into the arcade machine, there's 2 options, and it's like an endless mode of each, I guess.
Yeah, I think a arcade machine that does that.
And you would have to put credits in because it's an arcade machine. You have to put like 5 credits in it.
Honest to God, I want to turn this into a visual or some form and actually get this like on the Reddit or out somewhere.
And the arcade machine would be awesome because they can put like lots of games on it. They can over time.
Yeah, any feature that they add but kind of falls out of relevancy. Like even if robots and that are still in the game, but hacking is just not something you're going to do often.
It would be
turn it into a mini
visible.
Game.
Like it wouldn't be a separate screen. It would be visible in game, so your friends could watch you. Do stuff.
The only issue is I think there is a valid chance that it's not possible. Hacking is something you do in missions. It's the same as having your gun out, right? And you can't physically get your gun out in the pod, in the hub. It's not codably possible.
But that's not what it would be, though. You would just go into a separate...
I think it is, though, Harry. That's what I'm saying. You don't know how the code works. I don't know. But you can only code so far in missions. And there is a solid chance that is going to continue to be possible. They can't code you being able to hack in the hub just as much as they can't code a shooting range. It's physically impossible with the code they have in the form. I'm saying that is possible, right? That's the only reason I can see why they wouldn't be able to do it and shouldn't do it. If it is because it literally could be impossible it just can't be done, which would be very sad because the potential that you were ramping up to, which I have dead.
I really no. I think it is definitely possible because they can just reorient the way it works. They just have to remake the hacking into something that you can do in the space rig. You wouldn't need the hacking device.
But it's not that easy though. Otherwise, there would be a shooting range. Because if they could just work their way backwards...
No. Because for the shooting range, you have to have weapons that can be fired. It's not the same for hacking. It's just a game. It's just a visual that could be translated to another form.
But
it's much easier to reinvent. Shooting, you can't really reinvent. You can't change it to another form.
You don't know what you're on about. I don't know what you're on about. Yeah, but I'm telling you that it very much could be impossible. It's completely possible that it's impossible.
I'm saying it's also completely possible that it is possible. So there's kind of just
but I'm
no
saying
point.
Do not get your hopes up at all. But even though I think it's an amazing idea, I think there is a valid chance that it can't be done.
Well, you can pick up and throw objects in the space rig. Like the football and the goalposts. So...
That's not the same.
Yeah, but the hacking isn't the same as using weapons either, though.
Yeah, it is.
No, the weapons is far more complex.
You pull out the hacking tool to hack.
Yeah, but I'm just... all I'm saying, I think it's like throwing I think it's easier to just make a new thing. That's how they have to do it. They don't have to just take the hacking how it works in the mission and put it in the space rig. That probably would be quite difficult. But at the same time, the hacking minigame in-game is probably very easy to replicate in a way that would work for the space rig. They don't have to take it and make it work. They can just remake it in a way that works.
From then on, to save them energy, they could just make it so they can use it for both if they add new mini games like that.
This is really making the bingo easy because we've got like 4 wild cards.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we're done in terms of actually coming up with stuff. I should probably count. Should I count 2 perks? No, not 2 perks. 2 grenades per class and 3 grenades per class as separate predictions. I think I should, because the 3 grenades thing is like, I put that down as your ideal sort of.
Well, the thing is, I don't actually believe there'll be 3, because I think having more grenades than loadouts is not going to be
but
pleasant.
if I count it, it increases our chances of not having to do a forfeit. Right.
Well, how bad could a forfeit possibly be, Harry, at this point? Like,
you'll find out.
Okay. So what?
We got 25. We got 25 total predictions.
Holy shit! That's 5 by 5. That's a bingo.
Oh, so what do we have to get bingo?
Well, that's, I don't know. Make a bingo card. Like, just put the ones you think is most likely near the middle, and then the least likely ones on the outside, and then you can work your way from there, and then boom, bingo. And if we don't, honestly, we could probably actually do this. If we don't get bingo, we have to do the penalty.
Yeah.
Which actually make the bingo card. We'll see.
Can you make it?
Well, I can't do it now, but yeah, we'll. I don't know.
But we'll have to do it when the season comes out.
Yeah, or the first patch notes.
Yeah.
We'll have it constructed for when. Yeah.
Or we do it.
Notes is ready.
That's what the patch notes video will be. It's actually just us playing bingo.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, we can use those 5. Use those 5 things. 25 things. To make our own bingo cards. So if one of us gets bingo and the other one doesn't, then they have to do the thingy, and the other person doesn't. And if no one gets bingo, if both get bingo, then no one has to do it. Hooray!
Well, the idea was that it's just for both of us, because the idea is that we'd have to do a naked elite deep dive. That was the forfeit I had in mind.
Yeah, but that's not a forfeit. That's nothing. We can't do that.
So what do we actually have to, what would you do then?
I don't know. Maybe just get naked in front of the camera or something.
We can't do that though.
Well, it's more possible than doing the elite deep dive naked. In fact, hell, I don't want to do the elite deep dive full stop.
Maybe that's what that's what your forfeit should be then. Just do a deep dive. Just drunk.
I don't care about being drunk.
That'll probably make it better for you.
Yeah, less sufferable.
We'll come up with it later at a later date.
Yeah.
Oh,
so with the
fuck.
bingo card.
Should we do the news now? Should we do?
Yeah, sure.
Well, the thing is, I would want to have this on screen, and I don't know how I can easily transition to that. Unless we recorded a separate video.
Oh, you can just transfer over, right? Just set it up on like a different thing, and then switch screens, and it will still be recording it. Just make sure you don't catch like anything other than what you want to catch.
I don't know how to do. So if I clicked a different scene, what would happen?
It would transfer it over to it. It would still be recording, I'm pretty sure, because that's what the scenes are for. They switch between what you want to be recorded. Yeah. So while Harry's sticking around with that, those are our predictions. They're what we're staking our careers on, our livelihoods, our penises. Our penises will get chopped off if we are not.
That's
correct.
Pretty clean. It's literally just. It's still got like the banner at the bottom, but it actually looks pretty good.
Alright then.
This is the news, everyone. FSR 2.0 and Oktoberfest announcement. I don't know what FSR is.
I should probably look this up as well. Just keep talking, but I'm going to be...
Hello, miners. Summer is nearing its end. It's ended. It is September. And we remain hard at work chucking away on Season 3, and we hear you. You want to know more about what the next season will bring. Not to worry, miners. It won't be long until we start sharing more about what to expect. As a promise, apparently. For now, all we can tell you is that we are nicely on track for a Q4 release. Okay, so 31st of December. And that we are pretty sure you will like what we have in store for you. And before anyone asks, no, it's not more robots.
Yeah. They have to keep reiterating that.
Yeah. Oktoberfest 2022, coming to a space rig near you. Yes, Oktoberfest is returning to Deep Rock Galactic, and from September 15th you'll be able to join the beer-filled celebration on the space rig. We've had a lot of fun putting this event together. We may even have gone a little bit overboard.
Yeah, I can see.
You will have to judge that for yourselves. You can, of course, expect the regular assignment, rewards, and hat and so forth you come to know from a Deep Book event, but there will also be a few new surprises. More info as we get closer to the event. For now, dust off your Tracton hood and get ready to party.
What?
The event will end on October 3rd. It'll be 2 weeks.
Assuming we could all last 2 weeks of in-game drinking and partying.
Halloween. FSR 2.0 support.
I want to linger on that picture for a bit. Just make sure it's in the screen. They went too far. Like, come on. Like, I'm sorry, but all the energy that's been put into what we're currently looking at could be put into the actual season that they know we're begging for. Like, that.
I'm going to stop you right there, Ray. I'm going to stop you right there, because if we're not getting mid-season events, then we might as well let them actually have to put some more effort into these events.
Look at those barrels, Harry. Those are like actual barrels. Like. And I also not to mention all the visual shit that's going on there.
Now, there are some things that we can glean from this. The biggest one is, well, I'm going to need to sort of preface this quickly. So this event starts on September 15th, will go to October 3rd. And then, of course, they mentioned Halloween as well. I think Season 3 is going to be after Halloween, based on this.
I mean, that's what we were looking at this point.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, at least there'll be stuff.
And they mentioned a few new surprises, which, honestly, Harry, it is.
Beer, new beer.
Well, it is. Like, I'm sorry, but it just is.
I know, it's not other thing. It's not like it could be anything else. It's not.
Like, first of all, I'm not like I'm trying to look at like the screen, and is Gifted Slammer always there and look like that? Like, I thought that was where the daily special resides.
It could, I don't know. It could be a placeholder.
And plus, what is that?
Because I think they're all going to be
symbol as well.
That's the miners' union.
All right.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that.
Unless we do have to worry about.
No,
that.
You dumb. You ding dong.
Yeah. Point is, as we were literally talking about earlier, it seems like we might get a bit of a beer update, and especially a few new surprises. That's not like Oktoberfest stuff in the game, right? That might be actually new beers, like that. At least that's what it's implying. I think everyone can kind of see that as well.
No. You can throw pretzels at your friends.
You probably could, but that wouldn't be that new. But yeah. I think that is pretty hype.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think it also bears notice that, like, you know, I think, Harry, you've got to kind of bear in mind that we are nicely on track for a Q4 release.
Yeah.
Right? That is them saying that we know we're not going into next year. Nothing more than that.
I know that's what that means, but...
Yeah, so we are looking at a November launch. And for us, Harry, on Xbox, we're probably looking at closer to December, which is something. Miserable is what it is, but you know, whatever. What's the rest? What's the rest of it? Okay. What is that?
I don't know.
I think they're making the game look better. Or move better. I don't know. Point is, yeah. Well, at least we got Oktoberfest to look forward to now.
Woo! Oktoberfest, yeah.
Yeah, that'll get us through, which I guess is kind of the point of it, really. You know. But yeah, I mean, it also implies that we're not going to really get any spoilers in the stream tomorrow, I imagine, right?
No, I don't think so.
And we hear you. We know what's going to come next. The season will bring. Do not worry. It won't be long until we start sharing more about what to expect. Promise. So, yeah, probably next week. Maybe the week after. But, you know. I think... at least we got Oktoberfest to look forward to. That's all I can really glean from it, though, because they've actually delivered some pretty devastating news that we were kind of figuring out that it's going to be a November launch at best, and that is kind of unpleasant. But, you know, I mean, yeah, Oktoberfest, which should maybe add new beers or do something like that. Some new features, some new hats, at least.
Oh, new hats.
And then October, you know, we've got Halloween. So we do, at least at this time of the year, we have events to get us through this time. We're going to start going through events that will keep us playing a lot more. But, yeah. Oh, well. I guess at least we have a lot of time to make our bingo. Because it's going to be a while.
Yes. Oh yeah, the bingo.
Well, I think that was enough from us. Harry, do you wanna wrap it up, or should I? I don't really have the power.
That's all from me, Harry. That's all from him, Tyler.
That's not all from me.
What you got something else to say?
Not now. But shut up. It's hot.
Oh, Oktoberfest.
Yeah, that is a bit of good news. Although I think that, you know.
Well,
it's that they had bad news and so they slipped it in under.
Well, they didn't actually say the bad news. Really?
Yeah, because it would be quite... Because even that message implies that they know damn well that people are just kind of...
Yeah, and I think that's why they brought Oktoberfest back. Because they've only done it once before. It's not a yearly thing. I think they brought it back to sort of tide people over. Hold on. Yeah. Sorry. Actually, no. Can I go back on what I said? I think it's possible season 3 could still be October. I forgot when Halloween was.
October 31st.
Yeah, it's the end of October.
Yeah.
So it's still possible.
So, I suppose.
Or maybe around the same time.
Unlikely. But I also think to bear in mind, Harry, you know how you mentioned that that you think the season's taken so long, or like you worry about them being like creatively forced to make long seasons, like it's the cosmetics or stuff like that that's extending the time. I think Oktoberfest kind of proves otherwise. That clearly the visual designers have more than enough time to do stuff. Like they're able to make all of that.
Yeah.
Because I assume they only would have done that like because, you know, they weren't doing anything. Like their job's probably done at this point. It's probably down to just the coders. Like they're probably just working on the actual like data coding bollocks and making things work. Like as far as like probably the visuals of everything, they're probably done by now, or at least just in the like last couple things phase. Like to delegate enough resources to do this in an update that's already being dragged out means that they weren't really doing anything otherwise. And so that's something at least. But yeah, I think we should be looking forward to teasers very soon though. And we have Oktoberfest, which we're probably going to do a video on when
what?
it comes out.
What?
Oktoberfest.
Yeah, we'll do a video and we'll probably stream for Oktoberfest. Speaking of streams, Um, I might just enforce this like effective immediately. I think we're probably gonna do 2 mystery boxes instead of Pain Train, right? Because that last Pain Train stream was pretty dreary, and I think just being forced to do those doesn't have much value, really. And it still exists as a variable in the mystery box. And I think we actually be able to get a lot more mileage and a lot more interesting stuff out of doing mystery boxes more often instead of the pain.
Yeah. The thing is, Harry, is I think I'm just kind of burnt out, and I'm not sure whether this news. Oh no, I know this news has not helped. Like, I'm gonna play when Oktoberfest comes out, but until then, we've got no news to go on. I'm not in the mood to play Deep Rock, and I think that's probably the issue they're dealing with right now as well. That a lot of people are probably like the same side as me, where it's just kind of no real reason to play. Even though I still need to complete the pass. But at this point, I'd rather just have cosmetics to buy or unlock. And even then, I might finish the bar still with the seasonal, not seasonal, but like the Oktoberfest, Halloween. That probably playing that much might get me to 100. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll do like I think if you want to do that, I'll do 1 stream a week with you on that. But you could just do 1 on your own, or with Tom or someone. I'm really I don't want to play Deep Rock right now, especially right now. But like generally, because that was the other issue. Obviously, Pain Train was pretty painful, but also I just didn't want to be there, and I don't want to force that anymore because it's not helped. All right, I broke Carrie. Or I've disconnected.
No, 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 no. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, so I did just break Carrie. So yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't think I'm off for this opinion either. I think like I mean they've kind of established it that people are tired of the game. And I never used to play more than this anyway. Like even with the big season, the big updates, when they had like Doretta and all that, and the biomes, I played for like a couple weeks, if that, and then stopped. Like the new seasonal stuff has kept me playing, but at this point it's been too long. It's just been too long with not enough news, and yeah, I mean I can't play anymore. It's just a fact.
Here's the news.